it would have been too late for mom and that little boy.
Tonight, hear about a man who deputies say gave a mother and child a fighting chance after he ran into a burning building to save their lives.
A new bill could have the state of Utah take over some massive UTA projects.
We need to think regionally as we move forward.
How riders could be impacted and why one lawmaker says this bill makes sense.
It's a frigid night in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up, I'll let you know where we could see some areas of fog tomorrow morning and what you can expect for weekend plans.
A big change for an iconic building in Salt Lake City, and you'll be able to see it for miles around. The history and the future of the Walker Center.
The Utah Grizzlies are showing their love to some of the bravest cancer warriors in the state. The inspiring story you don't want to miss.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Tonight, a woman and her young son are recovering, and their rescuer is being called a hero because they pulled them from a burning Wyoming home.
Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser has this incredible story from Sweetwater County, Wyoming.
Deputies say early Tuesday morning, a man from Green River was driving on the highway, running late to work, when he first smelled smoke, then saw this home completely ablaze. He knew what he had to do and jumped into action.
He gave this mother and her little boy a fighting chance. His actions were the difference between life and death, truly.
When 3 kids told Ryan Posborg that their mom and little brother were stuck inside this home engulfed by flames, Posborg didn't wait for fire crews to arrive. He ran right in.
He didn't have time to think. He knew what he thought was the right thing to do, and he acted.
Sweetwater County Sheriff Deputy Jason Maurer says Pasborg used to serve as a volunteer firefighter in Superior, Wyoming. He crawled under the smoke, first rescuing the 4-year-old boy, then ran back in to save his mother. When they made it out, he saw she wasn't breathing and performed CPR.
The woman suddenly came to, gasped for air, and sat up.
Just as he was driving the 4 kids and mom away from the Jamestown home, firefighters and medics arrived.
It's more likely than not that by the time emergency crews got here, it would have been too late for mom and that little boy.
Investigators suspect a child's hoverboard could have malfunctioned and set fire to the home. Deputies just can't get over the heroic efforts of this stranger just passing by.
He gave this mother and her little boy a fighting chance. His actions were the difference between life and death, truly.
Then, later that Tuesday, Pasborg spent hundreds on clothes and items for the family and delivered them to the kids to make sure they were holding up okay.
They're always going to remember the man that helped rescue mommy and their little brother when their house caught on fire.
The mother and child were both flown to the University of Utah to be treated at its burn center. The child has some burns but is doing okay. As for the mother, she's still in tough shape. Reporting near Green River, Wyoming, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission is aware of more than 250 hoverboard incidents related to fires or overheating since 2015. They say hoverboards should be compliant with safety standards, but cannot guarantee they will not overheat or catch fire. They suggest only charging it when you are there to watch it. Have working smoke alarms on every level of your home, and report incidents to the Consumer Product Safety Commission.
We have new video tonight of the deadly crash in Hawaii that took the lives of a Utah couple last weekend. Police say a Toyota 4Runner crossed into oncoming traffic and hit Rebecca Van Eyder and Dr. Jason Howell's SUV head-on. The couple and the driver of the Toyota, they were all killed. Van Eyder and Howell leave behind 4 children who were staying with relatives here in Utah at the time of the crash. Also new at 9, a touching show of support and love. Neighbors and friends decorated the front door of the couple's home with paper hearts, saying messages like, "You guys are amazing. We love you." The family continues to ask for privacy at this time. We'll continue to keep you posted on this developing story as we learn more.
The renovation of the Salt Lake Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is in its third year now. Over the past 2 years, crews have removed and cleaned stones from walls and towers and created new paved areas. The excavation of the north side of the temple is nearly complete. Work on other sides continue for further stabilization. Crews take this work very seriously, some personally.
The church has always been special to me, and I'm getting a little choked up right now. The opportunity to work on such a project, especially this temple. All the temples are really special, but this one has got a special place in my heart because I grew up in the valley.
Work on the church office building plaza is expected to be completed near the end of this year. The plaza will have flags from various nations around the world and new landscaping.
Now to an update on a story Fox 13 News broke earlier today. A new bill on Utah's Capitol Hill would have the state take charge in building some massive public transit projects.
It would have the Utah Transit Authority take a backseat to developing major projects. Here's Fox 13 News reporter Ben Winslow.
The bill set to be made public in the legislature would have Utah's Department of Transportation take charge of some major transit projects instead of the Utah Transit Authority.
All modes of transportation for capital development under UDOT's authority.
The House Majority Leader is backing the bill. He says it makes sense as they plan for Utah's future and explosive growth.
You think about it, Ben, it needs to be done, honestly. We need to think regionally as we move forward, being the fastest growing state in the nation.
This means major transit projects like double tracking Frontrunner, expanding light rail and bus rapid transit lines across the Wasatch Front will now be built by UDOT.
UTA can still do all the projects that they're doing as long as there's no state dollars invested in them.
UTA was the subject of some blistering audits several years ago over its management practices. At the time, some lawmakers threatened a state takeover of the entire agency. But the House Majority Leader insists this is not a slow takeover of UTA.
I don't think that's what's best for the state, but looking at the big regional capital development projects, helping them get funded, helping them get built.
Representative Schultz says he's fine with how UTA is run now, but this could save taxpayers a lot of money. Legislative leaders also see some urgency in getting projects underway.
If you look at the long-term billions of dollars it could save, absolutely.
UTA supports this legislation.
UTA says they view it as a collaboration. Under the proposed legislation, UTA can still run the trains and the buses, but it's UDOT that builds the infrastructure.
UTA understands that the state is poised to invest a lot of money into transit going forward, and that they would want to have oversight. They would want to be able to know where the dollars are going and the projects are being developed. So we understand that, and we're all set to work and prepared to work with UDOT to make sure that everything does develop going forward, because it is so important to the growth of the state.
UDOT says with population growth, there's a need for a comprehensive transportation system that provides safe and effective choices for all users. State leaders continue to make significant investments in improving and promoting all modes of transportation, including transit.
We need to be visionary in this and how we run transportation holistically. We don't want UTA siloed over here or UDOT siloed over here. We want this.
On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, you missed it in our 5 o'clock news hour. We are going to show you once again the brand new lights of the Walker Center that's now shining up downtown Salt Lake City.
That's right. Allison Krogan, Utah's Weather Authority, and Fox 13 News reporter and producer Todd Tanner are high atop the Walker Center tonight. Guys, it's got to be cold up there.
Oh, it is sure chilly up here. And
it is, but the wind stopped blowing.
Wind has stopped.
Not too bad.
It got kind of dark, though.
It did get kind of dark. We could use some lights,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What do you guys say?
Big lights.
Maybe some big lights? Getting lit up right now, red, white, and blue for Fox 13 and for America. How about that?
There we go. The brand new Walker Center lights. We have so much to come during the hour. We're going to find out all about how the lights have changed, what they can do. What you're looking at right now is just a tiny little bit of what these new LED lights can do. All kinds of colors, all kinds of other things. We'll have it all throughout the show.
Not only is it cool, it's awesome to be up here actually, but It's so cool to see from the street because we all know, we've seen the Walker Center tower, we know it gives the forecast if it's blue or flashing blue or red or flashing red. You guys know the drill if you've lived here in Utah for any sort of time, if you've ever been downtown. But what we've got that's really cool is now we've got all these additional colors. And from the street, it's a lot brighter actually because it's LED now. You can see it reflecting off all the buildings, and it is just spectacular.
They're going to be changing it for holidays to come a little bit later tonight, around 9:30, 9:45. We're going to see the St. Patrick's Day look, the Christmas look, some other things that the lights can do.
Awesome. Well, it's cold out here right now. It'll be cold when we wake up tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the teens here along the Wasatch Front for your Friday morning drive. It'll be a dry drive. Luckily, could see a few areas of patchy fog like up towards the Cache Valley, but overall temperatures will be rising into the mid-30s during the afternoon, so we can finally make it above freezing for our first time in a couple of days. I'll have your full forecast coming up in just a little bit from live in downtown Salt Lake City.
They're in an institution that expects them to trust the institution.
Utah National Guardsmen have to roll up their sleeves for the COVID shot, but not everyone's complying. What the Fox 13 News investigative team has learned.
People are like, how do I know when it's time? You know it's time when it's really impacting your life.
Local healthcare leaders take a look at how the pandemic has taken a toll on the mental health of so many Utahns. What doctors want you to know.
It's been a great 24 hours for the Utah Jazz. They finally won a game, and great news for Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell.
Welcome back, everyone. You know Utah roads can get quite dangerous during the winter months, and those who drive them every day plead with all drivers to slow down and move over.
The Utah Highway Patrol and UPS held a winter driving safety demonstration today, which came at a good time after the many crashes we saw yesterday. They shared the reminder that you should be extra cautious around large vehicles like semi-trucks.
We see it all the time, where cars are passing and darting back in front of the semi-trucks. We need to remember that we need to give these guys a lot more room and to be a lot more safe around them so that we're not setting ourselves or the driver up for a bad day.
A UPS representative says an important thing is to remember to not only give them space, but to give yourself space as well. Right now, we continue to follow some of the exciting big changes happening at the Walker Center in downtown Salt Lake City.
Oh man, Bob, you're right. There are big changes you can see from miles away. Fox 13 News reporter Todd Tanner joins us from high atop the skyscraper tonight with an in-depth look at some of those changes. Hi again, Todd.
Hi guys, that's right. This building that I'm standing on top of right now is over 100 years old, and the sign on top that you're seeing right now is one of the most recognizable features of Salt Lake City. Its red and blue neon lights were flashing for decades, beginning in the 1950s all the way up until a couple of months ago when suddenly the sign went dark and people were wondering what was going on. There was a lot of chatter about it on social media, but as you can see tonight, the lights are back on, but people were very curious and a little disturbed when everything was moving around.
Come down, one more. We're going to be taking down all the rest of the letters.
Tonka Martinez and his crew have been busy.
We're pretty close to 2 months now.
For a while, it looked like the past was in pieces. The letters are back now, but by day, it's hard to see what changed.
We have undertaken a retrofitting of the tower lights from neon to LED.
Raju Shah is with Vectra Management Group, which owns the Walker.
The tower now will be able to have any color under the rainbow.
In the future, watch for the Walker lights to turn pink in October for breast cancer awareness, a rainbow in June for Pride events, and red, white, and blue for the 4th of July. Shaw says the new light system is an expansion of the Walker Building's history of sending signals to the greater community.
And it transmitted the first television signal in the valley.
Upon its completion in 1912, it was the tallest building between Chicago and San Francisco. The radio and TV tower went up in the 40s, but by the 1950s, the tower had become a weather center, and the forecast code has remained the same ever since. Blue, clear skies. Flashing blue, cloudy skies. Red, rain. Flashing red, snow.
It's blinking sometimes, it's solid other times. And I think, well, there's the Walker Center, but I don't take it further than that.
David Ammett is foggy on the code, but as the president of the Utah Heritage Foundation, he keeps a close eye on the Walker.
And it's just become quite simply one of those icons of Salt Lake.
And a close eye on history as his organization works tirelessly to preserve it.
We love the old neon signs.
When he first learned the letters were coming down, he was concerned.
What they've done is they've created a sign that really replicates that look, but then has this flexibility of acknowledging so much more than the weather. Having it reborn to live now well into the 21st century and beyond is, I think, a great thing.
All right, so 2 months to get all of that work done. Now, the Walker Center, as we mentioned, is over 100 years old. And the company that took care of the sign up there, Yesco, Young Electric Sign Company, they've been in Utah for over 100 years. So it was a perfect marriage for them to take care of the sign and all of the lights. They do all of the big casinos in Vegas. So, of course, they got this gig to light up the skies of Salt Lake City. Those LED lights are also going to be a lot more energy efficient. That was something that the building owners are excited about as well. And they can do so many more colors than what you have already seen. So later in the show, we're going to have a bit of a show and tell of what those all look like. Allison is coming up in just a second, but I happen to know that Allison's favorite color is pink. So right now, for the first time ever, the Walker Center Tower is pink. Just for you, Allison.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh my goodness. I was just telling them during the last commercial break that I think this is one of the coolest things I've ever done to be a part of this, just because obviously I love the weather and it has been giving the forecast to everybody for many years, and the fact that it is now lit up for my favorite color is so freaking cool. So thank you so much. Love to be here. It's very cold out here, but I'm still excited to tell you about the forecast. We're going to have another cold night here across the state. We're going to start though with a really pretty picture sent in from one of our viewers, Sherry from Neola, posting these great pictures in our Facebook group every day, Utah's Weather Authority. If you haven't joined yet, we would love to have you in there. We do daily weather discussions, and we also post and share these fantastic pictures from our viewers. So thank you so much for that. Our viewer photo next that we wanted to show you, we've got another one that's going to pull up right here. That also, I believe, shows the sunset. Actually, we'll go ahead and go to Salt Lake City. Current conditions with our Tribune camera downtown Salt Lake City. A nice cold night here along the Wasatch Front. We look at our temperatures here across the state, and we've got a lot of temperatures below freezing, almost all of us tonight, and we'll continue that way overnight. As we look at those temperatures across southern Utah, St. George, you're going to have more golfing weather the next few days, where those temperatures will be making it back into the 50s, upper 50s, mid 60s, even by middle of next week. So our top headlines could see a few areas of patchy fog tonight, especially towards the Cache Valley, something to keep in mind for driving tomorrow morning. But overall, high pressure's in charge. We're going to continue with just pretty dry conditions here across the region. And then our temperatures will be back into mid 40s, above average temperatures or just about average temperatures as we head into this weekend. So Salt Lake over the next few hours will hang out in the teens, and we will first wake up tomorrow morning. We're going to have a chilly night here across the state. We will continue with dry conditions here across Utah, so satellite and radar is not going to be too exciting tonight. We are going to see quite a few clouds moving in here across the state, but overall the main weather thing to look for tonight will be that potential for some areas of patchy fog to develop. Satellite and radar across southern Utah also showing you some breezy conditions. Across southwest Utah, we will see that windy through early tomorrow morning, and then we're going to see that wind dying down for this weekend. It's pretty calm here in Salt Lake right now. Overnight temperatures, though, will be in the mid-teens for many of us as we wake up along the Wasatch Front. We look at our daytime highs tomorrow. Those will make it into the mid-30s, so that's going to be Very close to today, maybe a few degrees warmer, but those temperatures are going to at least make it above freezing for the first time in quite a while. Our chance of precipitation over the next several days, almost non-existent. So as you can see on your screen there, could see a few chances for showers popping up middle of next week, but overall it's a very dry 7-day forecast. Nothing too encouraging here across the region for our ski resorts. Except for the cold temperatures, they'll be able to make snow. St. George, as I mentioned, mid-60s, middle of next week. Here along the Wasatch Front, we are going to be back into the mid-40s finally in a few days. Tomorrow, mid-30s for a high, and then we'll see those temperatures close to 40 this weekend, and then mid-40s as we head into middle of next week.
So no impending weather. The Walker Center can stay pretty in pink tonight. Allison, thank you so much.
That's right.
See you soon.
Still ahead, a Utah man is finding a creative way to keep his native language alive. We'll show you the children's show that focuses on Navajo culture. Welcome back. We have some sad news to report from Sanpete County. An elderly woman who was reported missing today was found dead. Law enforcement and others launched a big search operation today after 86-year-old Shirlene Peterson walked away from her home early this morning. The Sanpete County Sheriff's Office says crews found her body this afternoon. Authorities have not said how she died. Ephraim police are investigating.
A sexual assault suspect now behind bars nearly 25 years after the crime. 46-year-old Jamie Calderon is accused of kidnapping a woman at gunpoint from the Salt Lake International Airport and then sexually assaulting her back in April of 1997. The victim knew Calderon, so police were able to identify him and issue an arrest warrant, but they could never find him until now, when law enforcement in California picked him up. Salt Lake police are working on extraditing Calderon back here to Utah.
I think it's really special just when we take a look at the people in our community.
The Utah Grizzlies are lacing up tonight for much more than the game. How they're helping some of Utah's youngest cancer warriors.
This is really important for the good functioning of a military.
Many Utah National Guardsmen have gotten the COVID vaccine, but not everyone is complying. Tonight, the battle to get all its personnel vaccinated in a story you'll only see here.
It's a big night for college basketball and a big day for the Utah Jazz with great news on their 2 stars.
It's certainly a diagnosis that would devastate any of us, and that's why the Utah Grizzlies and the group Inc. Against Cancer are partnering to help some VIP guests tonight.
Fox 13 News reporter Spencer Joseph is live at the Maverick Center in West Valley City to show us how they are uplifting cancer warriors in a way that is absolutely positively Utah. Spencer.
Yeah, and it is a great night to be out here tonight as the Utah Grizzlies take on the Jacksonville Icemen. And as you said, Inc. Against Cancer gets a little bit of every single ticket that's sold here. Now, we talked with some of those special VIPs as they were riding on the Zamboni tonight, and they shared their story of why tonight is so special.
Inc. Against Cancer is just fantastic in all they've done.
So this weekend is our Fight Cancer weekend.
I think it's really special just when we take a look at the people in our community.
It's a local charity that deals with, locally with cancer victims and families. And for us, it's just a big thing to be a part of the community.
My daughter is Maxine. She was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. When she stopped chemo, it was February 22nd. That night we were able to go to a Grizzlies game thanks to Inc. Against Cancer and really celebrate the fact that chemo was done.
They've got a dancing group going on at the intermission time. Our players are wearing specialty jerseys that we're going to be raising money for.
She's back to being a normal kid, which is what she wanted more than anything.
Everybody's affected by cancer in one way or another, and this is an opportunity for us to come together as a community to give back.
So you're taking a look right now at those purple jerseys. Every single one of them has names of those affected by cancer, and every single one of them will also be auctioned off to raise more money for the charity. We're looking at about 1:23 left in the game. And go Utah Grizzlies. I think that's the final message here tonight. Reporting live at the Maverick Center, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Grisby and all. Sounds like an excited crowd. Good event. Thanks, Spencer.
Now to a Fox 13 News exclusive. A report from the Utah National Guard shows how many soldiers and airmen are vaccinated and how many are refusing the vaccine.
The Fox 13 News investigative team obtained the report through the Freedom of Information Act. About 6,500 personnel have received at least one dose of the vaccine. That's 88% of the force, but 147 soldiers and one airman are listed as having refused to be vaccinated. A professor who studies the military sees problems for force readiness and order.
They're in an institution that expects them to trust the institution. The whole concept of good order and discipline, of obeying orders.
Air National Guard members were supposed to be vaccinated by December. The Army National Guard has a June deadline. The active duty branches have already begun discharging personnel who have not received the vaccine. Exactly 60% of all Utahns are fully vaccinated. That's after about 4,100 shots were given in the past day.
Utah continues its steady decline in COVID-19 cases. Health officials say close to 3,500 people tested positive in the past day. That brings the 7-day average down for the 13th day in a row. But hospitalizations have reversed their downward trend with a slight increase in patients. Now, many people may be experiencing what health experts are calling pandemic fatigue. Today, Huntsman Mental Health Institute experts address the impact of the pandemic and its variants on our mental health. They say there can be a draining sense of hopelessness that things will never get back to the way they were before the pandemic, and add that people may be feeling more frustrated, exhausted, and angry now. If you've never dealt with mental health challenges before, you may be wondering how you will know when it's time to seek help.
When your life is starting to be really hard in ways that are just ongoing, we want you to seek help. That is when it is time, is when you're not bouncing back in your everyday like you normally would, and multiple areas of your life are being impacted.
Dr. Francis says the first step is acknowledging it's time to get help and then getting it. She says there are several resources available online, including support services and a 24/7 crisis line.
It'll mean hundreds of additional dollars coming to them when they file their Utah taxes.
A new bill could put more money in your pocket. We'll tell you all about it. Still ahead.
And I am live in downtown Salt Lake City on top of the Walker Center Tower, newly relit up. I'll have your forecast coming up, and we'll show you some of the new color displays just launched tonight.
A bill introduced in the legislature promises to put more money in the pockets of lower-income Utah families. The bill would create an earned income tax credit at the state level aimed at helping working families in the lower-income bracket. The advocacy group Voices for Utah Children says 1 out of every 6 Utah families already utilizes the federal earned income tax credit, which has been around since the Gerald Ford administration. They analyzed all of the tax proposals on Utah's Capitol Hill and found the earned income tax credit helped lower-income Utahns the most.
It'll mean hundreds of additional dollars coming to them when they file their Utah taxes. And that's a terrific place to start.
With the Utah Senate voting last week on a $160 million tax cut, Senate leaders on both sides of the aisle expressed a willingness to look at the Earned Income Tax Credit bill. 30 states currently have earned income tax credits in place. Kelly?
A bill set to be introduced on Capitol Hill promises free fare on mass transit, air quality improvements, elimination of the tax on groceries, and rural Utah economic incentives. However, it does not come for free. It does require raising the gas tax by 12 cents a gallon, also upping electric rates by a penny per kilowatt hour.
This is very ambitious, and we may not get it all the way across the finish line this year, but the point here is to bring people into the tent, figure out what works and what doesn't work, and create something that has long-lasting positive impact to the state of Utah.
Another big bill being advanced by a senator in Republican leadership would cut Utah's emissions dramatically by 2030.
We are going to light up the skyline like you have never seen before in just a few minutes.
The Jazz are starting to heal up as two players are selected to be NBA All-Stars. And it was a big night for college basketball. Could the Utes end their 10-game losing streak? The highlights are on the way.
Lobs it into Carl.
A Utah man is creating a children's TV show to try to save the Navajo language. Pete Sands has created the Navajo Highways Puppet Show. He says his 4 Navajo puppet characters travel across the Navajo Nation, learning the language and culture. Sands says his goal is to get young Navajo people interested in learning about their culture.
It's all about learning who you are and what it means to be part of this clan system the Navajos have, the complicated clan system they have, and it breaks it down to just really simple. Instead of making it so complicated, we break it down to simple where people can understand it.
Sands says he's shooting 10 episodes for the show. He expects to put it on YouTube Kids, but is trying to raise enough money to make each episode. He's created a GoFundMe page for his efforts. We can link you over to it from fox13now.com.
Great idea there. Hoping to make a difference, Scouts are participating in the annual Scouting for Food drive right now, and you can help out as well. Happening statewide, there are more than 400 Scout units and 26 food pantries and food banks participating. This year is a little different due to the pandemic, so the Scouts will distribute 100,000 food bags all around the state. You are then invited to fill those bags.
I believe the number right now is 1 in 7 individuals are food insecure, and so there's a tremendous need. We all know that we've gone through this COVID period in our lives, and it's caused some real struggles for families and them being able to support themselves. So this is one way we can help to make a difference.
Well, you can drop off donations and filled bags at participating Smith's, Red Hanger Cleaners, Arctic Circle, Bank of Utah, and at the Young Automotive Group locations. Scouting for Food runs from now through February 18th.
A historic skyscraper in downtown Salt Lake City is undergoing a radical change. And Fox 13 News has been showcasing that for you live this afternoon and this evening.
Changes here, Bob. Let's send it out now to Fox 13 News reporter Todd Tanner with more. Hey, Todd.
Hi guys, that's right. The Walker Center, as you know, has been red and blue neon lights for decades. But earlier tonight, we have watched as the Walker Center Tower has gone from rainbow colors to hot pink. And right now it's kind of a, what would you call it? It's a little bit of everything. So these new LED lights can do exactly what you're seeing. And from here on out, the Walker Center could look different every time you look up. You don't know what you're going to see, but the person who does know what you're going to see is joining me right now. This is Chloe Gerke, and she is the manager of the Walker Center. Chloe, what brought about this change?
Well, we were excited, of course, to have a tower that we could integrate with our community involvement and be able to have lights that could change with different events. It's something that we wanted to really share with everybody down here in Salt Lake.
All right, so I understand like holidays might look different. The 4th of July might look one way. Can you give us a little show right now?
I would love to give you a show.
All right, what are we going to start with?
Well, I would say let's take a step back into our holidays and let's look at Christmas.
All right. And, okay. That is really, really cool, Chloe. All of the movement, red and green. That is wild. We've also got a camera down on the street, so our viewers are also seeing what it looks like from Main Street, where people would be walking, coming in and out of the Eccles Theater and places like that. That is great. What is next?
Let's look at St. Patrick's Day.
All right, big St. Patrick's Day in Salt Lake City. The parade gets bigger every year, and that's going to be the look for St. Patrick's Day.
We'll have a wonderful Patty's Day this year.
And what's next?
Let's look at Easter.
Easter. All right, Easter is up next. I'm curious. You've given me a little anticipation now. Okay. That is really, really cool. It is just, it's so vibrant.
It is.
I took a little walk earlier tonight and got a
Yes.
little far away from the building, and you can see this sign from just about everywhere. What's next?
Next, we're going to take a peek at our Halloween.
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 Okay.
You have
Halloween lights.
You do.
All right. Okay.
Little spooky.
Little spooky, yes, the Haunted Walker Center. That's what we're looking at right now. All right. And you've got one more for us?
I do. We want to
Okay.
take a look at our Pride Day.
Okay. All right. Rainbow colors, of course, for all of those events in June. And last one.
Last one is what's coming up next, Valentine's Day.
Oh, goodness. All right. Yes, those are some.
Love is in the air.
There you go.
That's right.
Love's in the air. All right. Well, thank you so much for letting us do this with you, Chloe, and be up here on top of the building and see all of these things tonight. It's been a little chilly, but it's been so excited, and I've been really happy to be here. Allison Krogan is up next, and she has our weather forecast and coming right up.
Some very cold temperatures today. Of all the days to be here downtown on top of a building, it's just below average. So 29 was our high today. So it's been very chilly out here. 15 was our low this morning. So those are temperatures that are much below average for this time of year. A typical high is 41. So definitely a chilly night out here, and our sun will rise tomorrow at about 7:35, and it will set tomorrow close to 6 o'clock. So we look at these temperatures here across the state and our current temps here across Utah. A lot of us right now are about 20 degrees. 10 degrees for Logan right now, 8 for Evanston, 39 for St. George currently. And those temperatures, as we look at the forecast overnight, it'll be in the teens for many of us when we wake up tomorrow morning. But we do have clear conditions here across the state. A few clouds have moved in towards the mountains, mainly along the Wasatch Back, so northern Utah, but Salt Lake, Harriman, Lehigh, Tooele, Layton, Ogden, up through Brigham City, clear conditions. We'll see some areas having the opportunity to see some fog developing tonight, so we could see some foggy conditions, patchy fog tomorrow morning for some of our northern valleys. It'll be about 15 degrees when we first wake up tomorrow morning. By 10 a.m. climbing into the mid-20s. We'll have another sunny day tomorrow, and those temperatures will make it close to about 35 for a high. Air quality for Friday and Saturday, voluntary action with moderate as the forecast rating for that air quality. Overnight temps, nice and chilly up in the mountains. Look at that. Logan, 5 degrees, 3 for Park City, but for Provo, close to 10 degrees tomorrow morning. Same thing for Delta and Milford and Price. Vernal, 7, 11 degrees in Moab, 24 for St. George. By tomorrow, Friday afternoon, we're getting ready for the weekend. We'll have some nice weather for you. Temperatures right above freezing. So today we were below freezing. We've been below freezing for our highs and lows for a few days since Tuesday. And so we'll finally crack that freezing temperature and rise above it tomorrow. St. George close to 50 degrees. Very nice afternoons in St. George over the next few days. Mid-60s by next Tuesday, so some very nice weather ahead. Overnight temps all close to freezing for St. George. Here along the Wasatch Front, highs will be close to 40 this weekend. Mid-40s returns on Monday. And look at those overnight temperatures. Yesterday was 22. We've got 22 for lows the next couple of nights after tonight when we drop into the teens. We'll have your quick cast coming up in just a little bit, but for now we are live here in downtown Salt Lake City on top of the Walker Center Tower, newly lit up. What a fun night. We've got some beautiful colors above and just so excited to be out here, even though it's pretty chilly. Jealous of those temperatures in the studio.
A great news for the Utah Jazz. First, Donovan Mitchell officially cleared by the NBA's protocol for concussions, and he's expected to play tomorrow night against the Brooklyn Nets after missing the last 8 games. And second, Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell both named NBA All-Stars. Gobert and Mitchell are 2 of 7 Western Conference reserves, along with Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, Draymond Green, Chris Paul, and Karl Anthony Towns. This is the 3rd straight All-Star appearance for Gobert and Mitchell. The All-Star game, February 20th in Cleveland. College basketball, Utah trying to end a 10-game losing streak at home against Oregon State. Brandon Carlson, the jam in the first half, 12 points and 10 rebounds for him. Then it's Lazar Stefanovic, corner 3. Hits it. He led the Utes with 15 points. Utah led it by 13 at the half. They stayed on top of the second half. Raleigh Wooster, he hits a 3. The Utes won it 84-59. The 10-game losing streak is over. BYU hoping to bounce back tonight against San Francisco after 2 tough losses last week. Good start for the Cougars. Alex Porcello hits the 3. Then he gets it to Atiki Alatiki down low. He scores, and the Cougars are out to a 12-4 lead. But the Dons led it by as many as 21 points. They lead it by 9 with 6 minutes to play in the second half. Utah State went after their 4th straight win as they hosted San Jose State. First half, Justin Bean gets it to go and 1. 3-point play, had 18 points, 10 rebounds. How about this play from Brandon Horvath? After the steal, behind his back for the slam. What a play. 19 points, 11 rebounds. Utah State pulled away to a 78-62 win. That's 4 in a row. Weber State went after their 8th straight win. They took on Montana. Kobe McEwen, red hot, deep 3. He led the Wildcats with 32 points. Wildcats won it 80-75. They lead the Big Sky at 11-1 after 8 wins in a row. Southern Utah took on Idaho. Tavion Jones, the steal, takes it all the way to the rim for the throwdown. He also made 4 threes, led the Thunderbirds with 22 points. Southern Utah won it 75-59. They're 8-2 in the Big Sky. And Real Salt Lake has added a new attacking player for this upcoming season, signing forward Sergio Cordova on loan from FC Ostenburg from the German Bundesliga for the 2022 Major League Soccer season. 24-year-old has scored 7 goals in 75 appearances in Germany, and he's also appeared in 10 matches for the Venezuelan national team. RSL General Manager Elliot Falls said bringing Cordova was one of the top priorities for the clubs this offseason. We'll be right back.
Thanks, everyone, for being with us.
Leave you with one last live look at the lights on top of the Walker Center in downtown Salt Lake.
Stick around. Quick Cast is next.